Welcome to Easy Classic Stories. This is a retelling of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, a novel by Mark Twain. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer is a famous book by Mark Twain. It's about a boy named Tom Sawyer who lives in a small town by a big river. Tom loves adventures and sometimes gets into trouble. He and his friend Huck Finn have exciting times together. The book is very successful. Many people around the world love it. It's funny and full of adventures. It's also easy to read, making it great for learning English. You'll laugh and enjoy Tom's adventures. Now listen carefully to the story. At the end, we'll have an exercise on key events to help test your understanding. In the small town of St. Petersburg, Missouri, there lived a lively boy named Tom Sawyer. Tom lived with his Aunt Polly, who loved him dearly but often scolded him for his mischief. Tom was always getting into trouble, but his cleverness and charm usually helped him escape punishment. One sunny morning, Aunt Polly gave Tom a big task. "Tom," she said, "you must whitewash the fence today. It's a fine day for it." Tom didn't like this chore at all. He sat down and thought hard about how to avoid the work. Soon Tom's friend Ben Rogers walked by. Ben was eating an apple and looked very happy. Tom had an idea. He pretended to be very busy and important. Ben asked, "What are you doing, Tom?" Tom replied, "Oh, just whitewashing the fence. It's a big job, but Aunt Polly trusts me to do it right." Ben watched Tom for a while and then said, "Can I help?" Tom acted like he wasn't sure but finally agreed. Ben gave Tom his apple and started painting the fence. More friends came by, and Tom used the same trick. He made whitewashing the fence sound like a special honor. Soon all his friends were painting the fence for him, and Tom collected many small treasures from them. Aunt Polly watched from a distance and laughed to herself. She knew Tom was clever, but she also knew he had a good heart. One day, Tom saw a new girl in town. Her name was Becky Thatcher, and she was very pretty. Tom wanted to impress her. He showed off in front of her, but Becky didn't pay much attention to him. Tom was determined to win her over. He tried to act brave and smart, but Becky still didn't notice him much. Tom's adventures were just beginning. He had a best friend named Huckleberry Finn, who was always ready for excitement. Together they explored the woods, fished in the river, and dreamed of big adventures. Little did they know, their days would soon be filled with more excitement than they could imagine. Tom's life in St. Petersburg was never dull. He had a knack for turning even the simplest tasks into grand adventures. His cleverness and imagination made every day a new escapade, and his friends were always eager to join him. As the summer days passed, Tom's adventures grew bigger and more daring, leading him and his friends into a world of mystery and excitement. One night, Tom and Huck decided to visit the graveyard. They believed in ghosts and wanted to try a special cure for warts using a dead cat. As they walked through the dark graveyard, they heard voices. They hid and watched as three men approached: Injun Joe, Muff Potter and Dr. Robinson. The men were arguing. Suddenly, Injun Joe attacked Dr. Robinson. Muff Potter tried to stop him, but Injun Joe hit him with the gravestone, knocking him out. Tom and Huck watched in horror as Injun Joe killed Dr. Robinson and blamed Muff Potter for the crime. "Let's get out of here," Huck whispered. They ran back to town, scared and shocked. They promised each other to keep the secret, fearing Injun Joe's revenge. Days passed and Muff Potter was arrested for the murder. Tom felt guilty, knowing Muff was innocent. He struggled with whether to tell the truth or keep his promise to Huck. Meanwhile, the townspeople talked about the murder, unaware that Tom and Huck held the key to the mystery. Tom's life became a mix of fear and excitement. He and Huck shared a dark secret that bound them together. Their adventure in the graveyard had turned into a real-life nightmare, and they knew they had to be careful. Injun Joe was dangerous, and they didn't want to be his next targets. As the days turned into weeks, Tom's guilt grew heavier. He knew he had to do something to help Muff Potter, but he was terrified of Injun Joe. Little did he know his next adventure would bring him face to face with the truth and force him to make a brave decision. Tom Sawyer's adventures continued to unfold in exciting ways. Back in school, Tom wanted to impress Becky Thatcher again. One day, their teacher found a torn page in a book and asked who did it. Becky had ripped the page, but Tom bravely took the blame to protect her. He was punished, but he didn't mind because he had won Becky's admiration. Meanwhile, the town was buzzing with news about Muff Potter's trial. Muff Potter was accused of murdering Dr. Robinson. Tom and Huck knew the truth. Injun Joe was the real killer. Tom felt very guilty for not telling the truth. He struggled with whether to speak up or keep his secret too. The day of the trial arrived. The courtroom was packed with people. Tom watched as Muff Potter stood trial for a crime he didn't commit. Tom's heart raced as he thought about what to do. Finally, overcome by guilt, Tom stood up and testified against Injun Joe. He told the court what he and Huck had seen in the graveyard. The courtroom gasped as Injun Joe, realizing he was caught, ran out of the window and escaped 23. Tom's brave testimony saved Muff Potter from going to jail. The townspeople praised Tom for his courage. After the trial, Tom and Huck became even closer friends. They decided to look for adventures together. One day, Tom and Huck found an old treasure map. The map showed the location of a hidden treasure. They were excited and planned to search for it. The thought of finding treasure filled them with dreams of wealth and adventure. Their first clue led them to a haunted house. The house was old and scary, but Tom and Huck were brave. They decided to explore it at night, hoping to find more clues about the treasure. Little did they know, their adventure was about to take a thrilling turn. As they explored the haunted house, they found more clues that brought them closer to the treasure. Their hearts raced with excitement and a bit of fear. They knew they were on the right track and couldn't wait to see what they would discover next. After the excitement of the trial, Tom and his friends Joe Harper and Huck Finn felt the need for a new adventure. They decided to run away and become pirates. Tom said, "We'll be pirates. We'll sail the seas and have exciting adventures." Joe and Huck agreed, eager for the fun. They packed some food and supplies and set off to Jackson's Island, a small, uninhabited island in the Mississippi River. The boys felt free and happy, away from the rules and chores of home. They fished, swam, and explored the island. Tom said, "This is the life. No school, no chores, just adventure." Days turned into a week. Back in St. Petersburg, the townspeople were worried. They thought the boys had drowned in the river. Aunt Polly was very sad, thinking she had lost Tom forever. The town held a funeral service for the missing boys. Meanwhile, on Jackson's Island, The boys were having the time of their lives. They didn't know everyone thought they were dead. One night, Tom had a dream about home. He missed Aunt Polly and his friends. He said, "Maybe we should go back and surprise everyone." Joe and Huck agreed, missing their families too. The next morning, they decided to return to town. They found a raft and floated back to St. Petersburg. As they approached the town, they saw people dressed in black, looking sad. Tom said, "Something's wrong. Let's find out what's happening." They sneaked into the church and hid in the balcony. To their surprise, they saw their own funeral happening below. The preacher was talking about how brave and good they were. Tom whispered, "This is our chance to be heroes." At the right moment, Tom, Joe, and Huck stood up and shouted, "We're not dead!" The people in the church gasped in shock and joy. Aunt Polly ran to Tom and hugged him tightly. She said, "Tom, I thought I lost you. Don't ever scare me like that again." The town celebrated their return. Tom, Joe, and Huck were heroes. They told stories of their adventures on the island, making them sound even more exciting. The townspeople listened with amazement. After the excitement, Aunt Polly talked to Tom. She said, "Tom, you worried us all. You must think about how your actions affect others." Tom felt a little guilty, but also proud of his adventure. He promised to be more careful in the future. Tom's adventure as a pirate ended, but he knew more exciting times were ahead. He looked forward to new adventures with his friends, always ready for the next big escapade. Tom and Huck were excited about their treasure hunt. They had a map and were eager to find the hidden treasure. One day they decided to dig near a dead tree, but they found nothing. Tom said, "We need to find the right spot. Let's try the haunted house next." Huck agreed, but he was a bit scared of haunted houses. The next day, they headed to the haunted house. It was old and creepy, and the silence made it even scarier. They entered the house carefully, their hearts pounding. As they explored the ground floor, they heard voices. 2 men were coming inside. Tom and Huck quickly hid upstairs. They peeked through the floorboards and saw Injun Joe and another man. The men were talking about hiding some money. Injun Joe said, "We'll hide the money here until we finish our job." The other man agreed, and they buried a bag of silver coins in the house. Tom and Huck watched in excitement and fear. They saw Injun Joe and his partner bury the treasure and then leave. After the men left, Tom and Huck came out of their hiding spot. Tom said, "We found the treasure, but we need to be careful. Injun Joe is dangerous." Huck nodded, still shaking from the close encounter. They decided to leave the house and think about their next move. As they walked back to town, they talked about the treasure and how they would get it without Injun Joe finding out. Tom said, "We need a plan. We can't let Injun Joe catch us." Huck agreed, and they promised to keep their discovery a secret. Back in town, Tom and Huck couldn't stop thinking about the treasure. They knew they had to be smart and careful. They decided to watch the haunted house from a distance and wait for the right moment to get the treasure. Their adventure was far from over, and they were ready for whatever came next. Summer vacation was full of adventures for Tom and Huck. One exciting event was a school picnic. The whole town was eager to explore McDougal's cave, a famous and mysterious place. Tom and Becky Thatcher were also very excited about the picnic. On the day of the picnic, everyone gathered near the cave. The teacher reminded them, "Stay together and don't wander off. The cave is big and dark and it's easy to get lost. Tom and Becky promised to be careful, but they were too excited to listen closely. As they entered the cave, Tom and Becky were amazed by the strange rock formations. They walked deeper into the cave, holding hands. Suddenly they realized they had wandered away from the group. Tom said, "Becky, we should go back. I don't see the others." But it was too late. They couldn't find their way back. Hours passed, and Tom and Becky were lost in the dark cave. They called for help, but no one heard them. Becky started to cry. Tom tried to be brave. He said, "Don't worry, Becky, I'll find a way out." They walked and walked, but every path looked the same. Days turned into what felt like weeks. They were hungry and tired. Becky was very weak. Tom found a small stream of water which kept them alive. He said, "Becky, we have to keep moving. We'll find a way out." Becky nodded, but she was very scared. One day, as they walked deeper into the cave, they saw a frightening sight. Injun Joe was there, hiding from the law. He didn't see them, but Tom and Becky were terrified. They hid and watched as Injun Joe moved deeper into the cave. Tom whispered, "We have to be quiet. He's dangerous." Finally, after what felt like forever, they heard voices. People were searching for them. Tom shouted, "Help! We're here!" The search party found them and brought them out of the cave. The town celebrated their rescue. Tom and Becky were heroes. Back in town, Tom and Huck shared their adventures with everyone. They told about the treasure and how they found it in the haunted house. The townspeople were amazed. Tom and Huck became rich and famous. They used the treasure to build a new life for themselves and their families. Tom's adventures didn't end there. He and Huck knew there were more exciting times ahead. They looked forward to new adventures, always ready for the next big escapade. Their friendship grew stronger, and they promised to stick together, no matter what challenges they faced. Great job sticking with the story all the way to the end. It's time to review the key ideas with a fun multiple-choice quiz. You'll find the answers in the comments section. Take your time with the questions, and don't forget to leave a comment below to let us know if you enjoyed the story. Your feedback helps us improve. If you liked it, show your support by hitting the like button. It really makes our day. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories. Thank you so much for being with us.